Hey guys, we're back with Messy on Purpose, and I
Yeah.
have Trenton with me again. Today we're going to talk about his career path in foster care and kind of what he does, how it works, and go from there. Do you want to start by just like introducing what you do, who
Yeah,
you
so
are?
obviously Trenton Brisco. I'm back on the show again. I do a slew of things. I don't just work in foster care, and I know I said I want to talk more majority about it, but I do want to talk about who I am because it's important to know that some people we have a love for something, like we have a calling. For example, the foster care system calls me. I don't know why. I've never been in foster care. I've never even knew kids in foster care when I was a kid. But for some reason, it's always been a calling of mine that I was going to open up a land one day. And I knew the only way I was going to open up this land one day is if I was going to use the power it be that I had in me. And I was either an athlete or I was going to be an actor, a movie star. And I knew both of those would pay me enough to open up that land for kids. And unfortunately, I moved to LA. I was on a semi-pro football team. I got injured, and I realized injuries are just going to keep happening. I need to do something different. Acting, I can play a football player on TV and not get hurt. So I moved to LA and I started acting. I got on soap operas and I was doing all sorts of good stuff. And I knew that was my calling. And I knew that that was going to make me the money. But the Almighty changed that way, and He said, "Nope, nope, nope. You're going to go this path." And I won't get into detail, but I had a lot of great things happen to me down there. But I had a lot of great things taken away. And when those got taken away, it sent me down a different path. And during that path, somehow I stumbled on working with kids with behaviors, and it was by chance. I was working out at the YMCA, right? And they had a lot of troubled kids, and they saw that I was really good with them. They're, "Hey, you want to work in the teen center?" And I was like, "All right, why not? One day a week, I
Yeah.
feel good." And from there, I just realized no matter what, I got to work with foster kids because I'm really good at it. They asked me to foster them. I was like, no, 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 no.
So were these kids already in the foster system that
Yeah,
you were working with, the
yeah,
teenagers? So
yeah.
is it kind of like what is it, the Boys and Girls
Yeah, it
Clubs?
was. At that YMCA itself, it had a group in the
Okay.
teen center. And so it kind of made me realize. And then when they wanted me to foster, it was just so happens I was renting a house that someone left the house and left bunk beds in both rooms. And I'm like, what do I? And the lady rented to me says, "Do you want me to get rid of them?" I was like, "I'll just leave them there. I don't care." So I had a 3 bedroom house, just me. But I was trying to figure out what should I do with these bunk beds? And this kid comes to me and says, "Foster us. Will you foster us? We need a home right now." And I'm telling you right now, I'm a godly man. Okay, God said He was trying to get me to foster. He set it up for me, and I didn't do it. I was just like, nah, nah, I'm good. I'm good. It's just me. I'm single. I'm like, I got to get out in the world. So I
How
turned.
old were you at the time?
Gosh, I think it was only like 30.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so I got away from it. And then when I moved out to Las Vegas, I started working for a mental health agency, working with troubled kids, thinking that that was a calling. I'm going to do that. Well, while I'm doing that, I was there for a couple years. All of a sudden, they were like, "Hey, we're going to open up a division for foster care." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Maybe I can work at one of the houses." And they go, "Why don't you just foster?" And at the time, I had this like huge 6 bedroom house way out in the sticks in Vegas because that's where we like to live, in the
Yeah,
sticks, right?
yeah, yeah. Away from the city.
Yeah, and they were like, "Dude, you have all those rooms at your house. Just do it." And I'm like, "Don't I have to have a wife? I mean, don't I have to be married or something?" They go, "No," and I didn't understand that, but now I do. I get it. They don't have enough homes. They need anybody who is willing to give their heart for the right reasons. Now, sometimes the ones that aren't the right reasons get by, and that's
Yeah.
it is what it is. But so I did it, and I'm gonna tell you, I went from going out in Vegas, every other night, come out and party and all that stuff, to I am grounded at home with my kids. It started out where I had 3 kids. They were siblings, and it was a life changer. They needed a lot of work, and I put in a lot of work. I had them looking good. I had them learning. They were doing so well in school, and it changed my life. It made me feel like, I'm a good dad. I'm a good dad. I'm going to continue doing this. Then it turned into 6 kids at a time. And then I had 6 kids every year for 7 years, and they had 42 kids come through my house in 7 years. And every kid's different, every walk of life. They all come from different stories, different backgrounds. They all come with like different workers, different situations. So you got to really, if you go big like that, if you end up having a lot of kids, you got to know how to adapt, and you got to know how to just understand that chaos is chaos.
Well, and they're coming with their own set of baggage, right? Their own
Right,
set of
right,
trauma that they've gone through,
right,
and they're so
right,
young that they don't know how to process
right,
that. So everyone processes trauma differently. So now you're
right.
you're juggling multiple kids' reactions to different
Yes,
things.
yes. But I also found it that having the group, what I did was they would come in and I would say, all right, guys, look, we're having a house meeting. We have a new kid. We're going to all introduce ourselves, and we're all going to say who we are and what we've been through. And if you don't want to say it because you're new, you don't have to. Maybe next meeting you can. But I really made them feel like a family. I made them feel like brothers. In fact, I even made them do a little a vow to be a part of the brotherhood of, I call it Brisco Town, because I even started my own nonprofit while I was doing it, called Brisco Town. Had an MMA training program, BMX racing program. We used to go hiking every Saturday. And then we do movie nights, game nights, stuff like that. So I made them feel, and they would even invite other foster homes kids to come over.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
and I have some kids that still talk to me this day that were never even in my home. So it's kind of cool. In fact, one's going to be on I have a podcast coming out. One's going to be on my podcast. So
that's really cool.
yeah,
That's
it's kind
really
of cool.
cool.
To come
How old now?
gosh, I don't even know how old he is. I think he's got to be about 26 or 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's got kids.
Doing really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what? You had 17 kids total. You said, is that what it was?
42.
Oh, 42. My goodness, I don't know where I got 17. Okay, 42 kids.
I thought you were asking me, like,
No.
I don't know. Let me call some baby mamas. And I'll find out how many kids I got. No, I don't have any kids. Oh no, I have one daughter. I'm so sorry. I was gonna say I don't have any kids.
I was like, I've seen proof.
Yeah, I have my baby girl.
But okay, so 40. You said 43,
42.
42 kids coming through your house, and what did it look like as they came and left? So, like, what kind of did they grow out of the system? Did they?
Every kid was different. A kid would run away.
Oh, that would.
That happened all the time.
Okay.
Especially the older ones,
like the teenagers.
Yeah. So they're typical runaways, and nobody usually takes them because they're runners.
Yeah.
But they would come to me, and for some reason, all the runners lasted longer at my house. So the system came to me and said, hey, would you kind of be that guy? And I said yes. Because obviously they're never going to stay somewhere. At least I can be that impact during that time. And I was. Yeah. I just had a story. I had a kid. He was only in my house for 6 months. He was a runner. He had been to many homes. 6 months, very quiet. I didn't really know if I was making a difference or not. He was going to be 18. He was 17. He was about to 18 in like 6 months. I guess he just decided that he got kicked out of school because he got in a fight. He had to go to behavior school, and he didn't want to deal with that. So he went ahead and he ran away. So I just thought, okay, well, and then boom, next day I got a new kid. That's how they work,
Yeah.
If they need to.
Like well, because they have so many kids that are just in like group homes, right? That need to get into foster homes.
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, I had a message on Facebook, and it was from him. And I was like, oh, I won't say his name on here, but I was like, oh, wow. And then instantly, though, I thought, okay, what does he want? Does he want money? Does he want a place to live? Because I've had that already happen. And I've done it. I've given them money. I've given them a place to live. And they all screwed me over, I go to read the email or the message, and I go, oh, my gosh, man. This kid said to me, I just want you to know that you're the only father figure I ever had. You made a great impact on my life. I have kids, and I have a great job on the strip at a really good location. And I just want to thank you for what you did for me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a kid that I just kind of like, he was just there. I tried to put effort into him, and I didn't think I got through. And then he ran away. But look at the impact, and I get chills right now, And so that's the moment that I realized that what I went through and what I did, 42 kids, whole lot of chaos, whole lot of problems. If I impacted him, I imagine what I must have done to all of them, or at least most of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Like you made some type of imprint on them,
Yeah, and
basically.
it felt really good. It
Yeah.
made me know that I got to continue. So it actually sparked me to get back into the game. I'm currently not fostering. I fostered before.
Hmm.
I was gonna take a year off, and because all my kids were turning 18, it was that perfect moment to take a break.
You didn't need to take in more right
Yeah,
then.
and then all of a sudden, I adopted a kid from it, so I do kind of have a son. But I adopted him so that he could get out of the system, and then he went off to college. So I haven't really talked to him much. He's in his own world, when they get to that age.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my daughter came while I had that year off. So
Mm.
then I wanted to invest my time into my daughter. And now that my daughter is older and mature, I thought, you know what? And then this happening, that situation really impacted me. And a couple of my other kids still talk to me and they still make comments. And then the other kid that wants to come on my show, I had another kid that he was in my pilot that I made for a TV series.
Oh,
I
that's
put him
cool.
in it and it was about foster kids, the pilot. So like it's just nice to see that, and I'm gonna go ahead and get back into it, but I'm not gonna do it at the level that I did before. I'm gonna do it where I have younger kids that are more my daughter's age and younger, so that she could be there, because she's very mature,
Yeah.
and I think she could kind of be there for them, and they could, So we'll see.
Just
Yeah,
changing the way you do things.
yeah, yeah.
So, what do you do, like for your day to day for the
Yeah,
foster
so
system?
I'm always I'm branding the company here in town. We're fairly new. We're a national agency, National Youth Advocate Program. We're national, but they were only here. I think we've only been here for 4 years, and in that time before I came, we only had 5 homes. Um, there are 120 kids in Child Haven right now. Child Haven is the little building that holds the children after they get taken from their homes,
And those
right?
are usually called like a group home, right? Like where
No,
they or no, that's
it's not a
different.
group
That's
home.
different. So
That's
this
totally
is
different.
just like a place that they just hold them.
Yes, it's a holding area, little bungalows everywhere, and it's not even a group home. It looks more like a camp kind of
Oh,
feeling, you
because it's
know.
like the bunk beds, like all like rows of them or something like that.
No,
Maybe
I think that they have beds, but it's
it's
yes,
like
it's
you just like a
very
row of bed. Like everyone
yeah. No
sleeps
one
in
has
this
their
like
own room.
giant
Yeah,
room.
no one has their room and stuff. So my understanding is that their capacity is 90. They have 120. So I'm on a mission. We have we have a need, and we have we're national agency, so we're willing to put in programs and spend money and get ourselves out there. And so I decided that I'm just going to brand the heck out of us. I'm going to get on podcasts. I'm going to get on the news. I'm going to put together business mixers to which you attended. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. The Knights of the Round Table is a business mixer I put on once a month. I even did a film mixer because I'm a filmmaker, but people don't realize that I still talk about fostering at the film mixer. Any way that I can bring people together and get the word out. We started with that. I think we had 5 homes. I think we are going to be at we have like 9 going in.
Oh, nice.
So once those 9 go, we will literally have doubled, and I've only been with the company for like 8 months. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
We also may convert with somebody. I can't get into details. So we might blow up here soon. I'm also pushing to be in Pahrump, but Pahrump is not necessarily in Clark County, so they're in Nye County.
Hmm.
So that's going to be we're national, so we can do anything. I could probably go out there as well. I have. I'm going to go out there again today. Um, we try to team up with churches. Some churches already have a partner in foster care, and what we do is we can come in and maybe build a program. So, like, let's say this church has a program on Thursday nights that they implement because of us. The National Youth Advocate Program is their sponsor, and then they put on. So, if anybody's a foster child that has a foster home in their
Hmm.
church, which you don't know, me, you don't even
Yeah.
know, they can come to that, and it's paid for, it's taken care of, and then in now they have this program. The church is getting support from us. Then what will happen is they will start spreading the word to their people to foster, right?
Yeah.
So any way that we could try to help each other, we do the You're a Star event. You were
That was fun.
there.
I told you I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring the lights next time, so you have
Yeah,
more
yeah,
lights
yeah.
and
Yeah, I actually found my other lights too. They're actually like these
like
right here.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah, figured.
That event was a goal of mine from years and years ago, and I wanted to do it for foster youth mainly, but I think overall, just for kids in general, it's such a good ego boost, I guess, it makes you
So,
self-esteem boost.
is there a reason that you don't invite foster kids
I
to
do.
the event? Oh, you do.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, remember we don't have a lot of homes in our system.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we need to do a different tactic the next time. I'm going to reach out to all foster agencies.
Okay, to the
Yeah.
agencies and
Yeah.
just try to. Like, I didn't know if there was like a legal reason you couldn't do that
Yeah.
because it's almost like the way it's set up. I mean, it could be like
Well,
showcasing kids.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's pushing a line. So that's why I
It
was
is
asking.
kind of, so you do have to be careful. If I said that this is for foster kids, that means everybody taking pictures of kids, you'll know that they're in the system. And that's where
And
it's
you
like,
don't want
you
people
can't
to
do
know that.
Yeah, you can't do that. So you just have to say, hey, this is a foster kid awareness event.
Yeah, it's more of like a fundraising event, but like, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll have to talk more in depth about that with my higher level people. But either way, it's to build self-esteem and everything.
It's a cool event. The kids
It's
had a
fun, right? You
blast.
see their faces. It was so cute. And I can't wait to do it to kids that need it even more.
They need
Like
the
some of
confidence boost, the fun, the
yeah.
excitement, putting
Some
them
of
out
those
there.
kids that came, you could tell, all of them except the little boy, all of them came, and you could tell that they've done this before.
Oh, they love the
And
spotlight.
they eat it up.
Johnny's daughter was my favorite.
Oh,
She
yeah,
loved the interview part. I think I spent
yeah.
an extra like 20 minutes just interviewing her for fun.
Yeah, she was so cute. Yeah, I think she could probably do the interviews.
Oh, she could
She's
definitely.
so smart. But when that little boy came, he usually attaches to mom's hip and never leaves it. And so I said, "Do you think he'll walk this carpet?" She goes, "I don't know." And sure enough, man, he was
did.
in. He walked it. He was answering questions. He was signing autographs. It was so cool.
He was so cute. He's a little superhero.
Yeah, and that was his idea to wear that. So, yeah, and we want to do different events. I want to do a Christmas event where we give all the kids gifts. We'll sponsor that, and we'll bring in everybody to do that. So I'd love to have you there.
Yeah.
Maybe even, well, I don't know. Maybe you could do the show there. I don't know. And then we want to do a back to school event. Get backpacks and all that. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff. And if anybody watching wants to be involved, please, 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 like, we need everybody's help. It's a that's why I do Knights of the Round Table. We all need each other. It takes a village, especially with these kids. These kids are our future. So if you want to have a decent neighborhood in the future, a lot of these kids, look, there's 120 of them in Child Haven right now. Imagine if all 120 grew up and were menaces of society because they had no guidance whatsoever.
We have enough of those.
Yeah.
Just in people in general, not just the children.
Yeah, I did a thesis years ago in college, and and I always try to point this out, and someone brought it to my attention yesterday in an interview that I was talking to them, and I said, look, when do you know how they make prisons in the United States?
No.
What they do is they go and look at the testing of 3rd through 5th graders. And if they can't read in 3rd through 5th grade, they know that they have to build more prisons.
No way. That's really...
It's true. It's true. I did a thesis on it. And it may be different now, but it still happens. It is. They have to. They have to look at it like, okay, how many kids are going to be uneducated, and then uneducation turns into crime. The other thing is foster children. So, by the way, calling them foster children is actually a bad thing now. You have to say children of foster care.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Anyway.
Sorry, we're not publicly.
Yeah.
What is it politically correct?
What happens often with them is they turn 18. They don't want the help from the government because the government, in their eyes, has screwed them.
Which is fair.
Right?
Fair.
And even though we give them an independent living program where we give them housing, we help them, we have guidance, they don't want to take it always. They just want out. They just want to live. And then
they don't want to feel like they're tied to something still, because they've been tied to a system their whole life.
Yeah. And then they kind of screw themselves because once you turn 22, you're done. You can't use the system anymore. So I try to make sure you guys don't I talk to all my older kids, take advantage of this situation while you can. This is like daddy. You have a daddy right now, and it's the government, unfortunately. So, and they give you money anyway. So what ends up happening though is they don't take that. They end up doing petty crimes because they need to pay their bills or whatever, or it's easy money. They get arrested and they end up in prison. Do you know that in the United States of America, 80%, at least this was before, it may have even gone up, 80% of prisoners in the jail system ages 18 to 25 are from foster care.
I'm not surprised.
Is that
That's crazy.
something?
But
And so what are we doing? I mean, that's why we need more programs. We need more people to step up. Um, it's never going to be perfect,
no.
but we can make some change, you know. But it sucks, and I've had several kids from my house end up in prison or at least jail. Uh,
You can't fully, like, all you can do is, as a foster parent, is give guidance, right?
yeah, that's all you can do.
But beyond that, and even not even just with fostering, your kids, like, all you can do is guide them. They make the
Yeah,
choices to go which direction they go.
yeah,
And, like, with guidance or without guidance, you always have a choice. So, like, if they end up in the criminal system, it's not like anyone's fault but their own.
yeah,
um we're just doing what we can to fix that from being as bad as it is.
yeah. Well, I started shooting my kids straight. I say, listen, you were the victim before you came to my house. You were. You're not the victim anymore. And I'd say you need to turn that off because you're now 15 years old, and I'm sorry that you have to be a grown up now, but you do, and you need to just step up, own your,
Mm-hmm.
and go out there and don't blame your mommy and daddy or the system because you have, they go to classes, they do things through our system. You have the ability. I'm telling you, you can do this. And a lot of people, oh, you don't understand. I was like, I don't have to understand. All I understand is the future, and you can change it. A lot of my kids learned from that. They were like, heck yeah, but some don't, and it is what it is.
And you can't
You
change their
know?
mind. You can't.
Yeah,
All you can do is try to explain, try to
yeah,
guide, but
yeah.
in the end, they're the ones that make the decisions.
And what can we do now? What can we do now? You either open your home, become foster home, and try, at least try, or we start implementing more programming. I mean, look, DARE program got pulled years ago. It was like
Awesome.
2014, 2007, something like
It's
that.
been a long
It
time.
got pulled.
Yeah.
Um, Not saying that it was very impactful, and part of it is because it never really changed. It never really adapted to the kids of today,
Yeah.
right? So I'm also implementing EPIC, early prevention in communities, and it's like a DARE program, but it's more interactive. It's going to make the kids, and it's going to go younger. They're talking to kids in DARE in fifth, sixth grade. By that time, these kids are already little punks, man. You know what I mean? And they're too cool to
They've already
listen.
seen too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going down to kindergarten. We got an early prevention in communities. We've got to go down at a younger age. We're going to hit anti-bullying. We're going to hit suicide prevention. We're not going to talk about suicide itself. It's going to be more about mental health. And then we're going to go talk about child trafficking. We're not going to say child trafficking, but we're also going to focus on just making sure they make right choices and pay attention to the.
Well, the age groups depend on how you're going to approach things, right? Like
No.
in kindergarten, you're not going to talk
right.
to the same as you talk to a fifth grader, or an eighth grader, or someone in high school.
Yeah. So kinders, in my programming, the kinders literally just, I have characters, by the way. There's these characters, they're like the Power Rangers on steroids. They're pretty cool. Everyone likes them. They're going to get to know the characters and get to know the topics. And that's it. I should have turned this phone off. They're going to get to know the topics. You're not going to dive into too serious. It's just going to be very easy stuff. When they hit first grade, they're going to learn more. In first, second, and third are going to learn the same thing. First year, they're going to learn, we'll start with anti-bullying. And then the next year, we'll go to suicide prevention. So they're all going to get it.
Yeah, but it's a program, like a full program.
Yeah.
And it there's like stepping stones.
Yeah. So from kindergarten all the way to the third grade, you're going to learn all three of mine. So that's the idea. And then, there's interactive stuff. There's going to be a website that the parents can log into and go to certain things that are in that realm. And maybe the kids can play some games. They can buy some toys or whatever, you know? So that's one way. If anybody has other ideas they can come up with, please, man, we need it. We need more today things that will get these kids listening and paying attention.
Well, and you can only juggle so much at a time, right? So
Yeah.
it's like one program at a time, one meetup at a time. Like
Yeah.
that's all you can do.
Yeah.
So with the meetups that you've been doing, have you had anybody reach out to become foster parents based off of those?
I've had a couple.
Yeah.
Nobody has converted yet. A lot of people, they want more info and they take their time, and I understand.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah, I understand. But what I do know is you were brought to me for a reason. If your heart is like, I want to do this, you need to take the plunge. Because what happens is you start to overthink it. You let it take you away from it. And all the fear comes. And then what happens? You talk to people in the world who've never fostered, or maybe they have and they had a bad experience. And all you hear is the negative about fostering. All you hear is, oh, you'll never have a life. You'll never do this. Just remember who's giving you this advice. You might want to get it from someone who's in the system, who's worked in the system, not somebody who hears things. Because what do we only talk about the negative.
Right.
We don't talk about the good stuff. Like this story I told you. We don't talk about that. And I've caught myself talking about just the negative, because there are negative things that have happened in the system when I was doing it. But I will say, to this day, all that bad stuff that happened was totally outweighed by one email. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And more. But I'm just saying that's all it takes to feel like. I always tell people this: when you become a foster home, you're not only saving a child's life, you're not only impacting this child, your life is going to change. And how you feel, you'll see. You know, it's such an amazing feeling to know. And it's not like, pat me on the back. It's something you can't explain. The kid actually appreciates you more than your own children, because they don't understand. Children don't understand. They're just born, right? And in fact, your child, let's say you have a child, your child gets to know these foster kids. They hear their stories, and now they are appreciating you.
At least you hope.
Yeah. Typically. If not now, later they will.
Yeah, later,
right.
later.
But that's my point. And so everybody gets some sort of from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just so impactful over time, and it's just.
But on the other side of that, I mean, not to bring in like the negative side, but
yeah,
it is kind of. I'm not like just trying to be. So, if somebody is like not overthinking it, but they do need to think about it because it is a life change, and you don't want to wrongly impact a child because you took them on and you shouldn't have.
Oh,
so
totally.
Like I feel like that's kind of like, not to compare kids to dogs, but I mean it's still the same thing. You're taking care of a live being. Yes. A lot of people get dogs that shouldn't get dogs.
Oh, totally.
And like I think the same thing with children.
We don't just take anybody.
Yeah.
So I call people all the time that inquire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I meet them, and I vet them. I have got rid of people. I've said, I'm sorry, this is probably not going to work, and I tell them why. You know.
What is the vetting process? So how does that work?
You know, there's certain questions that we have to ask. I'm going to say, hey, let's just act like you're talking to me on the phone, and I'm going to say, all right, do you have your GED or diploma?
Oh, that's a simple yeah.
Okay. It's not simple for everyone.
No.
And that's the thing.
But you're asking me, so
I know.
that one's simple.
It is a simple question.
Yeah,
right?
It's a yes or a no question. So they have to have a GED or a diploma.
So imagine if someone doesn't. Now they feel a little bit like guarded. And
is that an instant no if they don't?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have to tell them that. And sometimes they get mad because they've wanted to foster all their lives. Like I just literally. Do
you ever make the recommendation to go get your GED, since all you do have to study and take a test?
Absolutely. And I do that every time.
Okay.
And they usually are pretty receptive to it. And then I say, and when you get that and it's not difficult, I think you can do this, come call me.
Yeah.
No one has yet, but still. Anyway, so that's the one. That's the main one.
So that's the first one that kind of cuts 50-50 on what's going to happen.
And then I try not to be so like, I'll say, are you working right now? And if they say no, I say, okay, look, when you start working, you got to reach out. Do you have any jobs lined up? Are you, interviewing? And then I kind of become like, a motivational guy, you know.
Like, how can I help you?
Yeah, because at the same time, I know they're typically they're calling me for the right reasons, but sometimes they aren't, and usually I know when they aren't, when they're asking me, well, how much do I get paid?
If that's the first question, you know they're in it for the wrong reason.
And if they have no job, and while I'm talking to them about that, and they make comments about pay, you know what I'm saying? So there's
you already kind of like can see where this is going.
And I'm not saying that people can be good foster homes and ask, you know, how much am I getting paid. It's not necessarily that. It just so happens that they get paid as well, a little bit of money to do what they do.
Well, and a lot of that is the pay isn't for them to make an income. The pay is to help take care of the child, because there's a lot of extra expenses when you take on a child. I mean, you have food, you have their well-being overall, you have all their school supplies, everything.
You have to show on paper that you can pay your own bills without us.
Which that makes sense.
Then the extra money that's coming in will go towards expenses, food,
clothes, school supplies.
Right. So that's that one. Then what I do is, and I usually have a way of asking it so that they don't people try to lie, and it's so crazy. I just say, how many adults live in the home? And typically it's just, you know, me or just one or two of us.
Yeah.
And let's say you said two of us, right?
Yeah.
Then I would say, okay, and are you together? Do you guys stay together in the master? And they're like, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, sometimes they aren't. Sometimes it's my uncle or it's my grandma. Yeah. So then I have to, like, in my brain know what's happening, because I have to go from that angle, because what you'll see. So then I say, okay, how many kids live in the home? You say 0, and then they might say like 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got 5 kids, 2 adults, 7 people, right?
Yeah.
So I say, all right, well, how many bedrooms do you have?
And
that's where I catch them, because they realize what I was asking them was, do they have enough space in their beds, in their rooms? So usually the ones that don't will say something like, well, my daughter is only 6, so she can stay in my room with me, in my master. And she's there every night anyway. I go, no, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Your daughter can go sleep in your room when you're a foster home. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the system needs to see the amount of kids have their bedrooms, the adults have their bedrooms, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that there's an extra space for a child. You know?
Because otherwise you don't have room.
Right. I've had people lie to me. And what's crazy is we actually, after I go through the vetting system, we send licensing to their home to just make sure everything is legit, and they catch them every time.
Yeah, it's like they have to do like a house inspection, right?
These people don't think that we don't vet that.
They think they're just gonna let a child just into their house. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I had somebody that said to me, I said, "Do you guys?" Oh, the next one. Let's talk about the next thing. Yeah. So I find out that, right? I find out. Yes, you can put 2 kids in a bedroom. Like if you could have a bunk bed in there.
Yeah.
They have to be. I think you can have a sibling group if they're boy girl. You can have them in the same room if they're certain ages. But you can have 2 kids at a time. Your daughter, I'm not saying you, but if you had a daughter in a room, you could put a bunk bed in there and have another girl in there with her, even though they're not siblings, right? Yeah. So stuff like that.
Is it usually like 2 max to the room though?
Yeah, not always. It's not actually always. Square footage of the room.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
When I fostered, I had a huge room that was kind of like a loft, but it was a door on it. And I had the ability to have 5 kids in that room.
Oh, okay.
There was based 2 on the bunk beds and another bed. Yeah, I could have put 3 bunk beds, but I couldn't have that many kids. It was square footage. So then the next step is, now this is a bad one. This is one, not a bad one, but it's something that I actually get a lot of slack from. Mm-hmm. They act like I'm rude and that I'm being judgy, when all I have to say is this: have you ever been arrested? And
I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
We're trying not to create criminals.
So I'll tell you this. I would say 60%, no, maybe 50% of the time, they'll say no. And then we run their thing and there's an arrest.
Why do they think, again, why wouldn't you think there's a background check?
Yeah, again, that's part of the problem too. But what they also don't understand is you can be arrested in your life and still
Yeah.
foster. It depends on what type of arrest it was, how many years ago it was.
I mean, that's the same thing with the most jobs that you get too. Like
Yeah.
you can still like have something on your record, and if you disclose it and you're like open about it, usually as long as it's not something like horrible.
Right. So, and then what ends up happening is I have to like talk them through it, and then they say, I say, look, I know you just said no, you've never been arrested, but I have to say this because it's happened, and and they get annoyed, and I go, if you have been arrested and you don't claim it, now being arrested is different than being charged. Hear that? It'll show you're arrested, but that doesn't mean you're charged with anything. And it's okay if you were arrested and not charged. That's even better. The problem is if you say no and it comes back as you've been arrested, you're immediately going to get red flagged. They're immediately going to push you into another pile, and it's going to take you months to become a foster home because you didn't be honest from the beginning and just throw everything on the table.
Yeah.
I said, so if you want to do this, I promise you, you need to just be upfront. Own what you did, own who you are, tell your life story, show everybody that, hey, I wear my heart on my sleeve for this system because we need to know everything about you.
And that's how you should be in general. There's no reason, like, your past is your
past,
past, you know what I mean? Like,
I understand if you want to be private and not tell people you were arrested when you were young.
Well, you don't have to openly tell everyone, like, hey.
Yeah.
But, like, I more meant, like, in those scenarios. If
Right.
if you're getting asked that for a reason, it doesn't matter if you're trying to foster, if you're trying to get a job, whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
You know, I got to tell you this. It just popped in my head. This lady, she was awesome. She was, like, perfect foster parent, right? And I asked the arrest thing. And she's like, I have never been arrested. I was like, awesome. That's great. How about your husband? And she was like, well, yeah, I mean, he's been arrested, but I'm the one taking care of the kids. And I go, no, he's your husband. He's the dad in the family. He's going to be there taking care of the kids. And I go, what is he arrested for? And she goes, oh, it's nothing now. It's all good now. He's out. He's out.
So
Yeah, he was in
confirmed.
prison for 10 years. And then and then she said, but it's okay. He's on probation. He's on parole. That's what it was.
No.
And I said, oh man. I said, look, I'm sorry. And this is not me. I'm not the one that makes the choices. This is what I personally would want to do. I would personally do on a case-by-case basis. I think that if someone did get out of jail, I would say I'd like to meet all of the people in jail that, you know, like the high level people.
Like an investigation on your character.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, some of these kids need somebody that was in jail because they need kids in the system. They think they're too smart. They need somebody that can say, well, I did that too. Or look at me. And then they listen.
Well, and just because people went to prison don't mean that they don't turn their lives around.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they're bad people. Some people just make bad decisions.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily selling drugs makes you a horrible person.
Right.
You were just doing something like a job.
Well, and also
it was just illegal.
And also, you know, sometimes just like kids in the foster system, they don't know any different. They're brought up. I look at it with everybody. You know, everybody I meet, maybe people who've hurt me in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people hold on to that, like maybe your mom or your dad or your brother, somebody or just a neighbor or a person if you're gonna be upset with them and hold on to that and play the victim, you're never gonna grow. Mm-hmm. So what you have to do is you have to take a look at them and give them grace and look at what they did and why they did it. Like I don't know, like a parent, for example. If a mom was treating her kids terribly and all you did was cry about it the rest of your life and say, I'm this way because of my mom, all you're doing is, you know, you're never going to
You're ruining your own life at that point.
So,
you have to realize some people don't even know any better or how to get better. And they did the best they possibly could. And it doesn't mean that everything they did was right, but they did the best they could. And you have to realize that you are responsible for your own life.
Yeah. That's your path, you know?
Yeah.
And it's up to you. can't blame it on the past. You can't blame it on somebody else. And then
No.
how you mend your heart and how you move forward in a positive mindset is you take a look at that person and you think, well, how were they brought up? I mean, they were probably brought up terribly too.
Mhm.
So that's all they know. So why are you mad at them? Be mad at the person behind them. Be mad at the person behind them. You
Or be
know,
mad at yourself for not being the change that you need,
it,
you
it,
know?
it
Like,
it's also another thing is the anti-bully program that I do. I used to work for Marvel Comics. I used to travel all over the United States as Spider-Man.
he's full nerd.
I used to do a dare program. It was like a dare program, and we did in schools. I was teaching, and I started seeing that we were teaching this about anti-bullying. I felt like we were just teaching them all to be victims. And I said, no, this is not right, and I changed it. So in my program, the victim, you're not the victim. So if someone's beating you up every day and treating you like garbage, you're not the victim. He is or she is. The one beating you up is the victim.
Like, why are they doing this?
You need to look at them as a victim. You need to go, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you? Instead of, because they're just like you.
Well, the moment you put somebody on the spot like that and you say,
Yeah.
hey, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what age they are. Because
Right.
I did this to my niece, actually. She bullied somebody at school.
Yeah.
I found out. So
Right.
I sat her down and I said, look, I was like, you need to stop this, and here's why. And I kind of laid it all out there. And then I told her, I was like, would you like it if I bullied you for no reason?
Right.
If you have no reason for doing this, you have no justification of why you're doing these actions. And I can tell you, after that conversation, she never did it again.
Nice.
So I wasn't the person that was being bullied that confronted her, but I
Right.
confronted her
Yeah.
head on with it.
Yeah. And that's the way. I mean, you got to call them out. But they're the victims. They were probably bullied, and now they allowed it to affect them enough to where now they're bullying.
And it's usually something in their household that caused it to happen.
Which makes it hard when the principal reaches out and tells them. Usually it comes from them, from the parents.
And parents don't like to hear that.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, I know somebody that always was the victim when I was in high school, and victim, that she's getting bullied all the time. And then she's watched her children now get bullied, and she's all about it. Like, they're being bullied, they're victims. And I'm like, you're just repeating
That's a cycle, yeah.
Like, you need, and I kind of called her out a little bit and tried to do it in a positive way, but unfortunately I haven't talked to her really much since. I still love you. But it sucks, man. But here's the thing. What I've learned about life is that this is your path. This is my path.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she's only 7. It's her path. I can't control everything that happens. And whatever happens, I mean, I can do everything in my power to make sure I can do what I can. But whatever happens is meant to happen to her. It's her path. I'm going to help guide her out of it, through it. But that's just the way life is.
Well, and you're teaching her the principles and the morals that she needs to get through life. That's the key. That foundation is what you're teaching her. What she does with that is her own choice, her own path.
Well, like, I don't, this, but my daughter goes to Texas for the summer. She's gone all summer, and it's not an ideal situation. She enjoys going there for the summer, which is fine. But it's just, it sucks. It sucks that she can't have both her parents at the same time. Yeah. I mean, I could probably move to Texas and make sure it happens that way, but I have too many things going on for me that actually probably would be better for her in her life. For me, I would leave all this stuff that I'm building just to go have them together. I think it's more impactful for her if I stay. But I just talked to her about how this is the way your life is, because she says, the kids at school talk to her about how her mommy isn't even here, and stuff like that. And so I just tell her that this is just your life choice. This not choice, but you just have to shoot them straight. I think when you shoot kids straight, it's so more impactful. It makes them more mature.
And like, why? Unless it's like a big thing like that will hurt them. Like, why lie to them?
Right.
They can understand most anything.
Yeah, they're really smart.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
give them credit for that. Like
No.
a lot of people baby children and they
No.
shouldn't. Bring it on, you know?
They say, and I did this with my daughter. They say when they're babies, you're not supposed to talk to them like babies. You're supposed to actually talk to them straight up. And I
Hmm.
remember my daughter was 3 years old, and she actually said to my foster kids that were visiting while they were arguing about life and how they're messing up and all that, and she was just coloring. And then about 20 minutes in, she stops and goes, "There's negative consequences to your actions." three
See?
years old.
That's
And
why
I
she's
was
so
like,
sassy.
that's my baby. I taught my baby that, you know? And the kids looked at me, they're like, holy crap. And I'm like, well, she had the guidance. You guys didn't. You know, you
Yeah.
guys are just learning that last year. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
have the people around you to build that foundation, you don't
Yeah.
know.
And here's something I like to point out um, in foster care. Okay. This is something I do in training. I also train the parents as well. Um, in training, I bring this up. Imagine this. Imagine a baby in the womb and the parent is either a drug addict or they're all over the place, they're alcoholic, they don't have anything together, they have issues. So what's happening to that child in the womb? The child is feeling stress. The child is feeling they're not feeling nurtured and loved. They're not getting that feeling from their mother,
Mhm.
right? Then when they're born, the same thing. They're not getting picked up and held like they should. They're not getting when they cry, no one comes. When they're hungry, they're not being fed. So they're going through that, right? And then as they get a little bit older, they're 2 or 3 years old. They are not told don't touch that. They're not told don't do that. They're not told that stuff. So now they're wild animals. They just do what they want. My point I'm trying to make is when they finally get to your house, you're like, what's wrong with this kid? I need you to think about what I just told you. These kids are so far delayed in a way that you can't understand that you need to find a way to go backwards, nurture them, give them peace, give them love, all that stuff that I just talked about. You got to do that for the first couple months because they never got it. And that's the key to all of this. That's the key to getting your kids as foster kids to turn the table for them. A lot of times they come in and this is what they do. They look at a paper, they're like, oh, this kid's done this kid's bad, this kid's done. All right, we're gonna give them structure. We're gonna make sure that they come to my house, not on my watch. That's all fine and dandy. Yes, they need strict. Yes, they need structure, but don't forget the part that I just talked about.
Well, they need the love. They need to know that they
Yep.
have somewhere that
Yep.
they're safe.
Yeah.
You know, they've been tossed around. I mean, shoot, by the time they're in a foster home, how many places have they been tossed around to?
Yeah.
Or even multiple foster homes. Isn't there a lot of kids that end up at multiple foster homes?
I had a kid that went to 35 foster homes.
Yeah. So, I mean, think of how unloved.
I see you.
Think of how unloved someone is at that point.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Okay, so there's a thing called. I always talk about this, and I am not a doctor. It's I have to this disclaimer. They say it's a rare thing. I disagree 120%. RAD. Have you ever heard of RAD? RAD is reactive attachment disorder.
Okay.
Okay. I want to read what RAD is to you.
Yeah.
Okay. I had it. I just happened. I had it a second earlier. So RAD is a disorder that they say kids. Okay, here it is. So, is a rare but serious condition that occurs in young children who have not formed healthy emotional bonds with caregivers, often due to severe neglect, abuse, or frequent changes in caregivers. Children with RAD may struggle with trust, show limited emotional responses, and have difficulty forming meaningful relationships. Early, consistent, and nurturing care is essential for that treatment. So, why I bring this up is I believe it's not rare. I believe more people, even kids not in the foster system, have it. Mm-hmm. And the kids in the system all have it because out of my 42 kids, one of my kids was able to stay on a sports team. Now I'm a big time. I love football, basketball, baseball. I coached. I thought I was going to
You
have
played,
my,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I played football, basketball, baseball, but I thought that my kids were all going to be in sports. Oh no, they all would quit. Why did they quit? I said, why are you quitting? Coach yelled at me. I'm like, coach yells at everybody. He said, yeah, but what happens is the coach extra likes them because they're in foster and they have to be nice to him. But as soon as they yell at him, they think I'm going to get kicked off the team. He doesn't like me anymore. He's picking on me in front of everybody. I quit. Okay. That's sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're in the classroom. They really like their teacher. I had a teacher that said, man, this kid is amazing. 6 months in, he yelled at him because he's talking. Flipped out on him.
And
He
all they're doing is treating them like they do anybody else.
Exactly. So he quit class, walked out, says he wants to be transferred. The teacher came to him like, "What's going on, dude? I love you, man. This is amazing. I just got upset with you because you're not listening." Just like that, right? I had a kid, amazing kid. He could work anywhere he wants. So outgoing and all that. He gets a job. They loved him. The guy was like, "I might make him a head chef. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to move up to head chef." Hey, Brandon, you know it's about you. And what does he do? He gets in trouble one day for messing up. He just messed up. And he quits from messing up one time because someone reprimanded him.
Well, it's because they don't know how to take any
Kind
type
of criticism and all that. So then it keeps going. Now they're in a relationship with a girl. And they break up. And I'm like, dude, you just got done telling me you were in love with this girl. Why'd you break up with her? Well, she's going to break up with me anyway. So they break up with her first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a constant thing that they do. And it all, to me, stems back to that, right?
Well, it's the moment they almost start feeling connected, they find the excuse to get away.
Exactly.
Because they don't know how to handle a real human connection like that.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I think all of us do it.
Oh, yeah.
We all have some sort of neglect. But we don't own it. We don't see it. We try not to. We don't talk about it. Rare.
Everyone.
This is not rare.
I would say most of the population has it at one point, unless you have been like completely loved inside out
right.
Your whole life.
Right. You're always missing something.
Yeah.
And I'm not being the victim. But no. I remember meeting girls and I would dump every girl I met. And I know why. I'm not going to get into it, but I know why.
Yeah.
And knowing is half the battle. Is that G.I. Joe? Knowing is half the battle. So it's crazy, you know, like if we could just start acknowledging these things and accepting who we are and where we are and looking to the future and not looking to the past, we can make such an impact on our own lives.
Yeah.
If
you have to do the work, though, to get to that point.
Yeah.
It takes years and years of figuring yourself out, figuring out why you do things, letting go of things that are kind of your anchor to who you are. Like if you're holding on to those parents that didn't love you, or you're holding on to this relationship that didn't work out, you know, like those are going to keep holding you down and you're never going to grow.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't planning on telling this story, but you know, I'm a storyteller and I'm having a good time. We're all in different places all the time, right? 11 years ago, I went on a date. Met a girl, went on a date. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh. it was like the seas have parted. And that doesn't always happen, you know? And I thought, man, did he finally bring me the one, you know? And I was all excited. And then she came out. She was rude. Said some things that I'm like, the hell? And the whole night I was just like feeling all this backlash. Like I felt all this negativity. And I was like, what the heck, man? I felt the aura when I saw her. And I wasn't saying, and I'm not saying that
like
just because
souls colliding.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like she was hot. It was more than that. I've seen hot women. It's something else. Like I go with my feel, you know, how
there's some kind of vibe connection of some sort.
So I'm telling the story for a reason. I got freaked out because you showed me that negativity stuff right away, right? So I kicked this girl to the curb. Our date did not last the whole date. I just said, and all right, well, you have a good night. Took her home, and that was it. Never didn't see her again, right? I would say a couple months after and stuff, I thought about her because I was like, God, she would have been so cool, man. You know, damn, man, that's too bad. Whatever. Well, I just ran into her and I didn't realize it was her. And we were talking, and I realized we just were not in a place then to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the situation, she got negative because she saw a good guy and didn't want to get hurt, right? And then I saw a girl being rude and I wasn't about to put in the time.
Both put up your defense mechanisms.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So if we can start acknowledging and seeing where we are, it's just crazy because when we talk now, it's like complete opposite from back then because we have so much more growth now.
Yes.
So what I say to everybody out there, take your time in life. Don't rush things. Don't jump to be married. You need to grow. You need to go through life sometimes. You can't depend on needing somebody to make yourself happy. You need to be happy first and find your own happiness. And sometimes that means you got to go through hell to become happy. But without any bad, there is no good. And without any good, there is no bad. So you need to go through that bad. And I promise you, if you can get through that bad, at the light at the end of the tunnel is amazing, you know? And it's definitely messy on purpose. You know
Way to tie it.
it is. It's messy on purpose.
Well, and like that example, it doesn't mean it couldn't have worked out then. You both obviously left, but if you would have still tried, you could have still both grew through your crap together too. Because the reason I say that is it doesn't mean you have to wait until you're ready.
Right.
Justin and I have been together forever now.
Right. Right.
It was a process. We both grew together. We both had the same goals. I think that's a big thing. You both need to be working towards the same thing, whether that's like self-growth or whatever. Not necessarily like I need to work through the same exact thing, but your general growth and what you're looking forward to in life and where you want to be should be aligned.
Yeah.
And if you can do that together, it does help balance it.
No, totally. I mean, if you find a partner that is willing to work with you and you're working, totally great.
Yeah.
You know, but don't force things that turn into jail time.
Oh, no. And that's the other side of it too. Don't stay somewhere that's not good for you.
Unfortunately, it happens worse now because everybody can't afford to live. And so people depend on each other. They end up getting married for the wrong reasons. They end up having children for the wrong reasons. And then their children end up in foster care. You see what I'm saying? It's all a cycle.
Oh, yeah.
We really need to hope that we can either get more pay and lower the rent. I mean, it's crazy. I was just looking at rentals all over the area in Henderson about 4 days ago, and rentals were in a certain price range. And then all of a sudden they said that the housing market's crashing so that they're not selling houses anymore. They decided to take them off the market. Mm-hmm. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to rent them, right? In the 3 days, I went back and looked. There was like 20 more homes in this area, and the price went up. And the price is not cheap. I'm like, there's no way one person can live in one of these homes. In fact, it's going to be hard for two to live in one of these homes for the amount of money that they charge.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. They got to do something.
Well, the problem, too, is like if the rentals are too high, people just stay where they're at.
Well, true.
You know.
True.
So there has to be a balance somewhere.
Yeah, but then the problem is those people that have those homes that are not being rented.
And you said rentals went up, but like if there's too many available, they'll start
to go down.
Well, yeah. So if there might be a spike of like, oh, I hope I can get this because that's what everybody's been getting the last couple of years.
Right.
But with as many rentals as there are, that it'll go.
True. So maybe over the next couple weeks, things will start dropping.
Yeah, because we're actually looking to. We're moving. We'll stay in the same area, just a different house.
Yeah,
we just want one level. It's just us.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And a dog.
I'm selling my house currently, but the problem is it's not selling. And then I was just going to rent for a year until I want to go where I want to be. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful. It's like settling in anything. Like
that's why we didn't buy when we moved here. So we sold our house in Colorado and we're like,
yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, because you got to pick the right area. You when you buy a house, you're buying a house for long term. Like you got to make sure it's the right thing. It's not like it's like you're getting married.
Yeah,
you know
and I'm not trying to marry Vegas.
Yeah.
I know they do a lot of those.
Have you been to Lake Las Vegas?
I have. It's just so far out there.
It's not far.
And it's a lot of.
You're far. What are you talking about?
I know it's even further to go out that way.
No, it's just driving.
If
you drive from here, there, you just said you like to be in the sticks and not talk to people.
Yeah, the sticks, not next to people. Like,
oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so we're gonna build a commune somewhere,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll have
We're
like
thinking
five
St.
houses.
George.
Yeah, I like it out
I
there
like it
too.
out there.
I just got to roll with the punches. I think I'd rather just rent right now until I can go buy a ranch somewhere.
Yeah. That
And
would be
then,
nice. Just to
yeah,
have like a ranch that like you have people to run it and everything, but then you have like
yeah.
you know where your meat comes from
Oh
and
yeah, it'd be great just to have everything.
yeah.
Personally, ideal situation is get like a little townhome in Lake Las Vegas, ranch somewhere, and maybe like I don't know. I was thinking Texas, but every time my brother's out there, every time I go to Texas, it's too humid, man. I just can't do it, and I don't like
I
humidity.
like everything about the state except for the scenery is boring and it's
Yeah,
humid.
yeah. So I was kind of thinking maybe Tennessee or Colorado. Utah's nice. I do like Utah. But I don't know. I got to figure it out. Roll with the punches.
Yeah, yeah.
Here I'm
We'll
making,
figure it out.
I have a lot of things happening here I want to take advantage of, filmmaking and
Yeah.
all that.
That's what
It's
I like about St. George though, is it's not very far, so you can still
yeah,
come here pretty frequently.
yeah, but it's not a flight though. You got to drive here. It's a two
Oh
hour,
yeah, I
two
forgot.
two hour,
You're a
2 hour.
California boy. They don't drive much there.
Yeah, well,
I'm from the
but that's
Midwest. We
4 hours of
drove.
my day. It's two
It's
hours here,
fine.
2 hours back. No, I have to do.
So do I. We're driving to LA and we're not flying, we're driving to LA next week for my work meeting and team building.
I'd much rather fly into Burbank in 45 minutes,
No,
jump on an
we're
Uber,
we're
and
gonna
call
take
it
the
a day.
M3. Justin's gonna drive the little curvy roads and I'm
Oh
gonna go do
yeah.
team building stuff.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Cool. 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 Cool.
But yeah, well, we drive everywhere though. We're from the Midwest though. It takes 50 minutes to get to the next city. You know?
Yeah, I used to
So,
drive all the time. I used to live in California, so I used to drive here all the time. I think I'm just at a point where I'm just tired of driving. It is what it
I'm
is. I
married to
used
a
to
car
love
guy.
driving.
He
Oh
loves
gosh.
it.
Oh yeah. I
It'll
forgot.
never end.
Yeah, I think every time I talk to you, we talk about him in a car
Yeah,
of some
yeah. That's
kind.
why I thought it was so funny to tell you what he was doing when he went to go
Yeah.
get parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, "Why would you tell people that?" I was like, "I was just trying."
Well, you did say in front of like 12 people. No, I'm just
Nobody
kidding.
knew who he was.
Yeah. Good
No.
deal. Good
But
deal.
yeah, so circling back to the foster care system.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with that? Anything coming up that you want to bring awareness to? And
We're looking to do an ongoing brunch, and that brunch would be where you just come to brunch and ask questions, get to know us. If you want to take your time instead of diving right in, every month and a half we have a training where you show up, you fill out an application, we talk to you, we figure out if you want to do this or not. So if somebody wants to do that, we do that every month and a half. But you can come to the brunch weekly, learn as much as you want over the week, over the couple weeks, and then once you feel comfortable, you can come to one of the trainings. We haven't designated a spot yet for that brunch. I'm trying to work on that right now. I'm actually gonna have a meeting after this. So there's that. You can go find me on Instagram, Trenton Brisco. It's not my National Youth Advocate Program Instagram. It's just easier to have everyone go there. Um, or you can reach out to 725-272-4517. That is my work phone for the National Youth Advocate Program. If you want to look at the program, we are nyap.org. It's nyap.org. Check it out and let me know when you're ready.
and what is one piece of advice you'd give somebody who's interested in starting to be a part of the system? I guess.
I say shut out the noise, listen to your heart, don't listen to others. Um, every child is different. The chaos that comes to your home is what's meant to come to your home. The non chaos is meant to be what's coming to your home. You may get a kid that changes your world, um, impacts your life for good, or you may get a kid that's tough and they need you more. So, is that good?
Either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. And then you have an event next week.
Yeah, next week we have a film mixer at the Lexi. It's the first Thursday of every month we do a film mixer.
Is it always at the Lexi?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll always be at the Lexi. It's a theme. We do a theme. It's a free event. The theme of this one will be comedy, so you could come dressed as any comic character. I'm gonna be dressed as Bobby Boucher, uh, and we will have comedians. And I got a bunch of great comedians that are donating their time to the night. This is going to be an ongoing thing. The next one we're talking about possibly doing it at the pool, and having a DJ, having it a little bit earlier, go a little bit longer, and then watch Jaws in the pool.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be our next Thursday event in
July.
July.
Who's sensitive and who's not?
Yeah. And then after that, we'll figure out the next theme. I think we're gonna do after that. We're gonna do musicals, and then we're gonna have karaoke that night. So yeah, I'm just trying to make it different and fun. And I'm not doing it for money. It's a free event. I want to bring money to the Lexi. They're great people over there. They just changed ownership from Artisan to the Lexi, and I just want to give them. They help the community. I want to help them back, and I want to give a place for our community in film to go to, and I want it to be a good place where everyone has good vibes. And if anybody wants to join me on promoting it, I'm open. I'm not. This is not about me. Johnny Molnaro and I started this thing, and we're promoting it. But we don't care. This is not about us. It's just about all of us. It's about the community. So
it's a good time to do it too, because the more film and
that's why we call it Hollywood 2.0. We're trying to embrace the community now and get us stronger together, so that when that is here, we can go make an impact. So
the better Hollywood, because let's face it, Hollywood is.
I mean, you think about it, Vegas is so Hollywood.
Oh, it so is.
It always has been. I remember driving here
At
from
least it
LA.
owns the corrupt part, though.
Yeah. True that.
And then you have your business, or not? That's not.
Yeah, no, I have another
business mixer, right?
Another business mixer will be at the Beach House in Henderson on June 26th, Thursday night. That's from 6 to 8. Another free event, cash bar, free food, a raffle, good times. People have a good time, and I like to try to promote ourselves, but also educate ourselves to help each other grow. Maybe make a new friend and see what happens. And then after that, we have some events coming up down the pipeline that we'll hopefully be able to share soon.
And all of these you post on.
I post them on Facebook, Instagram. I do usually put a event on Facebook. I also do it through Ticket Tailor if you use that, or you can go find it there. But typically, and everybody posts it. We try to share in that. Like I said, I want more people to, like right now, it'll show Johnny and Trenton are the hosts. If you want to be a part of that and you bring a group of people, then we can add you as a host. It's not about us. We just used us as a tool to get people to come in because we know a lot of people in town. But we'd love to team up with more people to do that. But as long as you bring something to the table, you're not just going to be like, yeah, I want to be the host, and then you bring nobody.
Yeah, you gotta bring your part.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be egotistical. Like, no, I'm better than you. I'm on there. You're not. It's not. It's
just a collaboration.
Yeah,
you're looking to collaborate with people who know other people to bring it, to build it.
Yeah.
You're just not looking for somebody to just be called the host.
Yeah, and I also don't want you coming in thinking you can just control everything. It's not what it's about. It's already a system set in place. We just need more people to promote it, and we'll put your name on it that you're promoting it too.
Promoting it, bringing ideas.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think this is a great interview, man. I think you and I might have to start doing our own podcast or something.
We might have to, huh?
I mean,
I feel like it
was
vibes
good.
well.
Yeah, and it comes from a woman's perspective and a man's perspective, and I don't know. I like it. I'm always looking for a new podcast type of situation. I totally forgot. I am doing a podcast every Monday. Oh no, I almost said it wrong. Every Friday at 9 a.m. starting next Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a live podcast or is it just?
So it'll be live. I'm new to this, so it's on a radio station, but it will eventually, once we shoot it, it's radio live.
Uh-huh.
But then we also are shooting pictures of us. We're not in. I'm at home and a guest.
Yeah. So you're recording it live, like virtually.
Yeah, and then it gets put onto YouTube, onto all the platforms. So Be on the lookout for that. It is called the Brisco Bridge to Foster Care in Nevada. And what the idea is, I'm going to bring guests that are from the system. So, like maybe a CPS worker, a caseworker, a CASA worker, and you don't even know what that is. And that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So, they're all people that can share their story and what they do so that people watching can learn more about the system. I'm even going to bring in an ex foster kid.
Which was what you were talking about
Yeah,
earlier, right?
yeah. So, and then I have a lady that works with us in the business mixers who used to be in a foster home. So she wants to come on and talk. And
awesome.
so we're going to do that and just get information out there to all the people and hope that it slowly makes them understand the system and want to be a part of it. And if they don't want to foster, and if you don't want to foster, no matter what we say, or if you can't because you had some bad crime when you were young, you can always volunteer and do stuff with us. Like reach out. Like when we have an event, like your star event, it would be great. We needed extra people. We needed fake paparazzi, and we're going to do that event again. So there's always a way that you can help. So don't think that just because of, don't let it stop you. Don't let anything stop you. Find a way. Always find a way. There's always a purpose in what we do. So.
And those events are a lot of fun.
Yeah. And they're going to get way better too. And I'm pitching it as a reality show.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So.
And in fact, when we get off out here, I'll share with you my other reality show that we're pitching.
Okay.
It's bigger than that.
Okay.
Because that's You're a Star. This one is called Dream Big.
Okay. Interesting.
It's hot.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Well, we'll close this up so then I can find out about that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.